Hello, everyone. It's Richard Wilson here from the Family Office Club, and today we're doing an investor mandate interview with Allison. Welcome, Allison.
Hi, nice to be here.
Great. So, what type of an investor are you?
I'm a general partner at a fund called Sempervirens, and I'm also an angel investor.
Okay, great. And what do you invest in angel-wise versus through the fund? What are you guys allocating to?
I look at both. I would say my angel investments tend to skew earlier stage than what we do through the fund, but in both cases, essentially focused on the US, invest in anywhere from seed to Series B, primarily equity rounds. And I specifically focus in both spheres on companies in the future of work. So healthcare technology, workforce technology, and financial technology. Specifically companies that have a strategy to sell to or through the employer as a distribution channel.
Okay.
So I have a strong network of senior HR leaders that I work with on understanding the scope of the market, how it's changing. They often co-invest. We work together on diligence and then also sales distribution after I make an investment.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, I'd like to follow up with you. I invested in a fintech company that's related to the future of work last year. And then I have a good friend in a business owner club who has like an adaptability quotient solution that is helping companies evaluate their workforce and see how they could be more adaptable and who is most adaptable on their team, et cetera. And both are kind of related to what you're thinking about all day long, I guess. So there might be some notes to trade there over time. That's
Definitely,
great.
love
And then
to.
what about in terms of level of traction? There might be someone who has a company in that area, but I know you go earlier, usually on your personal side than through the fund. So through the fund, are you looking for proof of product, some revenue, and a certain level of stage, like it's a B or a C round, or how do you define the scope of what you're focused on in terms of how early you'll go?
Yeah, I mean, my real competitive edge is this network of HR leaders, some of them at Fortune 500 companies. So when I think about traction, I really want to see a product that would be ready for an introduction to the CHRO of Walmart.
Right.
So sometimes that's demonstrated by revenue, sometimes that's demonstrated by the maturity of the product or the team, but that's kind of how we think about when we would be a fit.
Okay. And since you have such deep expertise there, what is the number one insight or suggestion you have for those that are looking to get access to or work with a network of HR? They're kind of known as a hard group to penetrate. If you don't have relationships there, they're not replying to cold emails and phone calls too often because everyone's pitching them something, it seems, from my perspective. So what insight do you have there that you learned that, you wish you knew 5 or 10 years ago, perhaps?
One is definitely a warm introduction and approaching that conversation as a relationship building conversation as opposed to a pure sales conversation.
Right.
And the second is what I think is a core insight to any good sales strategy, which is listening, right? Asking, what are you focused on right now? And I guess the third thing that I would add is also being aware, and this is where I try to lend insight, be aware of what budget these HR leaders actually have, because a lot of times,
Right.
you really need to align yourself with where they have money available to spend if you want to be able to close something.
Okay, great. And then on the investment side of things, it might be related or completely different, but what's the number one most valuable investment insight you could share in terms of how you structure deals or negotiate or find or add value to those deals afterwards? What's your number one insight you could share here?
I think what I've learned as an investor is be very specific about your sector focus and what you're looking for, and your strategic value add, because there
Right.
are literally thousands of angel investors. And on the fund side, there's over 1,000 new funds started every year. So you're only
Right.
going to get good introductions if you're different and you're memorable and you're adding value to the other people in the ecosystem. So definitely think two-way and think very specific.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with that more based on my experience. And I think it's probably tens of thousands of angels globally, if not in the US and Canada. So I think that is ever more important. Every year, there's more investors, there's more funds. So
Mhm.
love that advice. If anyone wants to connect with Allison, just let our team know. We're happy to get you connected. If you're member in the Family Office Club. That's part of the benefits of being a member. And Allison, I'm happy to keep in touch and see if there's ways to add value to each other over time.
Sounds great. Thanks so much.
Thank you.